Policing in the spotlight. Aurora residents weigh in on efforts to reform their city's troubled police force.
I was surprised that there were no red dots, to be honest with you.
Where the latest report shows there's been improvements and where work still needs to be done.
Questions lingering weeks after the police shooting in lower downtown.
The board itself is very frustrated that this event happened.
Tonight we're hearing from the head of the Citizens Oversight Board why she's worried answers may take longer than they'd hoped for. And that is where we're going to start tonight. Policing under the microscope in two of Colorado's largest communities.
In Denver, a member of the Citizen Oversight Board says they're frustrated by last month's police shooting in lower downtown, and their role of holding the department accountable may not start as soon as the public would like. Denver 7's Jessica Porter will have that story in a moment.
We're going to begin in Aurora, where community members tonight are getting an update on efforts to reform that city's troubled police department.
Denver 7's Rob Harris is live outside of Aurora City Hall, where we're learning there have been improvements, Rob, but not everyone agrees.
Yeah, not entirely, Ann. There's a lot of angry outbursts at the town hall tonight, particularly when the topic of use of force by Aurora police came up. But in the audience were members of the Community Advisory Council that was formed by this consent decree. And members of the council say having members of the community come out and ask their questions and also voice their concerns is an important part of the process.
The consent decree is the consent decree.
The town hall started as a presentation, but for many in attendance, the goal was to ask tough questions.
We have a very hurt community. The community is mourning both the death of Elijah McClain and a lot of different situations that brought us to where we're at today. And so there is a lot of distrust.
Jeanette Rodriguez is a deputy with the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department, but she also stepped up to join the Community Advisory Council because she feels strongly the reform is needed to rebuild trust.
I think that everybody agrees that reform in the city of Aurora was necessary. There are a lot of things that needed to be looked at, and I think it's happening.
This was the diagram that was given to everyone in attendance, with green dots showing progress in the right track, red dots showing the wrong track, and yellow dots in between. As you can see, the area of the most improvement, according to the report, is in the use of chemical sedatives, an important part of the consent decree, with the role that ketamine played in Elijah McClain's death. As of now, no red dots have been given, but they could come in future reports.
I was surprised that there were no red dots, to be honest with you. But I do know that this city has made a conscious effort to improve.
It's not our intent to be scary.
Aurora Interim Police Chief Dan Oates answered one question personally, written on a card by a 9-year-old girl, asking, when the police come, why are they scary?
She had literally never spoken to a police officer before, and what she said was, my experience is some police officers are in a good mood and some police officers are in a bad mood, and when they're in a bad mood, they should just stay home. So I told her I totally agree with that.
So this consent decree process is a 5-year process with 12 reports and 70 different targets that Aurora must meet, ranging from use of force to racial bias with policing. Now, the Independent Monitor says they're going to have these reports released over the course of those 5 years. And after each report's released, they'll have a town hall for the community to come out and ask their questions, raise those concerns. So the next town hall will be in a few months. Live in Aurora, I'm Rob Harris, Denver 7.
Thank you, Rob. And now to the latest from last month's police shooting in Denver's lower downtown.
6 bystanders were injured when police fired at a man they say flashed a gun. This is July 17th. And tonight there are still questions about that shooting that don't have answers.
And today, Denver 7's Jessica Porter spoke with the chair of the Citizens Oversight Board, who says those answers may not come as quickly as people would like.
Now, the board says they are saddened and disturbed by the shooting that happened last month. It's a civilian agency meant to build trust between the community and police, but they say their fight for accountability in this police shooting may take some time.
I know the board itself is very frustrated that this event happened.
The Citizen Oversight Board has finally taken a look at the case where 6 innocent bystanders were injured by Denver police officers, as DPD says they tried to stop a man who flashed a gun at them. But the board says they have yet to see the body camera video.
There's no circumstance in which our officers who are supposed to be serving and protecting are harming innocent people, having a nice night out. And so, there are some structural suggestions here that, the board may take on in terms of overall effectiveness and protocols.
Julia Richmond, chair of the Denver Citizen Oversight Board, says they got a briefing from the Office of the Independent Monitor Friday, 3 weeks after the shooting.
These proceedings are often also very slow and I think incredibly frustrating to the community. We as a board wished that they were more quickly resolved.
The Citizen Oversight Board says they are closely tracking the incident, but in a way their hands are tied until the investigation into the officers' actions is complete.
I asked a question of the executive director of safety last week about if these really need to be sequential processes as opposed to parallel processes, just so that the community can feel like more work is being done on these sort of critical incidents.
The Citizen Oversight Board can review whether Denver police officers responded appropriately. They look at failures in training, protocol, cultural issues, and recommend disciplinary action when needed. The board says this case highlights the need for an independent monitor, which oversees investigations and complaints into Denver police and sheriff's departments, a job that's been vacant since November 2020.
An office without its leader, does start to feel like it's missing something, and the board is very eager to fill that role.
Well, Denver police have said they will release the body camera footage of the shooting 1 week from today. The Citizens Oversight Board is still looking for an independent monitor. We have a link to that application in this story on thedenverchannel.com.
New details tonight in a deadly crash in northern Colorado that shut down I-25 near the Meade exit Monday night. Today, State Patrol identified the woman killed in the crash as 32-year-old Megan Arneson. CSP tells Denver 7 Arneson was driving behind a semi carrying an excavator when the arm of the excavator hit the bridge, and that caused cement from the bridge to fall and then crash through Arneson's windshield, killing her. A 10-year-old boy in her car suffered minor injuries, and that crash is still under investigation.
A pilot is dead after a single-engine plane crashes near the Centennial Airport. South Metro Fire and Rescue says the plane crashed just after takeoff and that only the pilot was on board. That pilot's not been identified. The NTSB now will investigate the cause of this crash.
A reward is being increased for information leading to the arrest of a driver involved in a deadly hit and run in Aurora. Jason Lyman and his 2 dogs were killed last Friday morning when they were struck by an SUV. This was near Reservoir in Mansfield, just south of Hamden and Tower Road. Well, police say the driver ditched the SUV and then took off. Well, tonight, Metro Denver Crime Stoppers has increased their reward for information to $10,000. And you can call the number on your screen, 720-913-STOP. Lyman leaves a wife and 3 kids, and a GoFundMe set up to support the family has raised nearly $70,000. You can find a link at thedenverchannel.com.
New developments tonight in the killings of 4 Muslim men in Albuquerque. Today, authorities charge a 51-year-old Mohammed Syed in the July 26 shooting death of Aftab Hussein and the August 1st shooting death of Mohammed Afzal. Investigators say the gun used in both shootings was found at Syed's home. Now, Syed also suspected in the killings of Naeem Hussein and Mohammed Ahmadi. Police say they are now working with the DA's office on possible charges in those cases as well.
Contract negotiations continue between Denver Public School administrators and the Denver Classroom Teachers Association. The teachers union wants enhanced health care benefits, continued designated COVID leave, and equity training for all employees. The union also says DPS can do more to recruit and retain teachers of color.
I think it's the same issues that have come up over and over. It's about people's bias towards BIPOC teachers. It's about making sure that we support BIPOC teachers, especially in places where might be the only one.
The district issued a statement saying they look forward to reaching an agreement. Negotiations continue through Wednesday afternoon.
Well, organizers tonight are pausing efforts to recall the 4 newest members of the Douglas County School Board. The group Dougco's Future says they don't want a recall to negatively impact the school district's bond and mill levy that's on the November ballot. Those 4 new school board members elected last fall sparked controversy in February when they voted to fire Superintendent Corey Wise without cause. The board's 3 other members voted to keep Wise. So the new board members are accused of circumventing open records laws as well by discussing Wise's future in one-on-one meetings and not during public forums.
Not much to see on radar tonight. Coming up, a lot of high 90s in the extended forecast.
Scammed out of thousands.
I put down the first month's rent, and then all of a sudden things went left field.
A couple finds out the home they were set to move into was never available to begin with.
Plus, the Broncos' record-breaking sale becomes official.